All right, what is going on, Patriots fans? This is Jason Cole back with the Patriots Drive podcast, and today we got some news. The Patriots are making a signing of a player that is currently on the roster. They're extending defensive tackle nose guard Davon Godchaux, giving him a 2-year extension. Played in Miami for his first 4 years, came over to us last year, and New England gives him a pretty hefty contract. So, what are your thoughts, Cole, and what are the details of the contract?
Yeah, so he ended up signing a 2-year, $20.8 million extension with $17.85 million guaranteed. That's quite a bit of guaranteed money for this extension for Gotcha. And my kind of original thoughts on it, I know you have the details on it, saved us a little bit of cap space, but I don't know. I thought he was just okay this year. He was below expectation for what I expected him to be this year. He's supposed to be just a kind of run stuffing interior D tackle. And our run defense wasn't spectacular last year, and he had one game where he really dominated. But outside of that, he kind of struggled. He was kind of average, and he didn't really live up to his contract numbers. And for the Patriots to give him a raise and an extension, I thought that was kind of odd. But at the end of the day, hopefully it shows their confidence they have in him. That hey, last year he didn't have his best season. Maybe he was dealing with something. Who knows? But maybe they think that flash that he showed in that one game is something he can be more consistently for the next 3 seasons with the Patriots.
Yeah, and it saves us $1.5 million in cap space this year. What they do with that's yet to be determined. We'll go see. Maybe they target Trey Flowers, guys like that we've talked about. But when you look at the depth chart, I don't mind it too much. You got him and Barmore, which I think are two totally opposite players. And Godchaux's only 27. Lawrence guy's 32. And then you got younger guys on the team. Henry Anderson's another guy that there was high praise for that could possibly play a little bit of defensive tackle reps. But this is a guy that's 6'3", 315 pounds, and he's been known in the league for being a run stuffer in Miami. And he was good his first 2 years in Miami. Then his third year, he suffered, or in 2020, his last year with them, he suffered an injury. But he was top 20 in run stuff percentage last year, according to PFF. He had 43 tackles, which is 9 off of his career high. I think, like you mentioned, it was good. He was a good defensive tackle. He's not a great one. He's probably not top 10, 15 in the league. But I think that with the run stopping, with the problem that New England has with stopping the run, this is a signing that makes sense to me, where you need to keep him in-house. There's really no other guy that's probably head and heels better than him. That's just the lack of the Patriots roster right there. And maybe they use the money to go take Trey Flowers and bring him in and make this a little bit of a more run stopping by committee type of thing. But I think if Davon Godchaux gets to what he was his first two and a half years in Miami, this is a good extension. And he could be a very good piece alongside of Christian Barmore, who are two totally different type of defensive tackles.
Yeah, I mean, his motto last season in interviews was "Stop the run to have some fun." So he's known, like you said, known as a run stuffing defensive tackle. And I think his problem last year was the inconsistency a little bit. Like I talked about, he had one really dominant game where he looked elite. He looked really good, and then he had some games where he kind of looked below average, and then he kind of had average games and then solid games. And so if he can kind of be more consistently, not at that elite level that he was in that one game necessarily, but if he can be a more consistent, good, solid player, then the signing is fine. I like it. I still think it's a little odd that they gave him a raise after maybe some would say a disappointing season, some would say just a kind of average season. He got a decent amount of money. I mean, all those guarantees in that contract. I know now he'll be here for the next 3 seasons because he had one more year on his deal already and signed a 2-year extension. But I like Davon Godchaux, and we certainly have a problem stopping the run. I think he's a good complementary piece next to Barmore. Like you said, Barmore is a dominant pass rusher, and he needs some work in the run game. Godchaux needs some work in the pass game. So maybe they can help each other out a little bit, and maybe they can just complement each other nicely and be a good balance there as our 2 starting defensive tackles. But I like the signing, a little more money than I expected. Or I like the extension, a little more money than I expected for a guy that performed like he did last year, but it created some cap space. Maybe that helps us, like you said, get a player like Trey Flowers, or maybe it's just some wiggle room to have cap during the season to make some moves eventually or whatever. So it's fine. I'm not super thrilled about it. I'm not upset about it. It's just, it's a fine extension.
Yeah, and I think Patriots fans were a little bit down on him last year, and I mean, I can see why. Against Dallas and the Chargers, he had very poor PFF grades, and then he had really good ones against Tennessee and Buffalo the 2 weeks before our bye weeks. And other than that, he was just, mediocre. So I get it, but I think that he's probably, outside of Christian Barmore, he's probably our second best nose tackle. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, saying how the amount of depth we have is not good, or he has the ability to play a lot of snaps and have a big impact on this team. There's some give or take there. So I don't mind it. Like you mentioned, with Lawrence Guy being 32 and him being on the last year of his contract, next year could have looked really scary. So get him for this year and then 2 more seasons, and see who continues to develop in that house, and other guys that you can sign, bring in, maybe draft a guy like that. We'll see how it is. But short little quick video for you guys with a little bit of news. Day 1 for the training camp, and you get in a signing here. But make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment, and use our promo code on Underdog Fantasy right here. That's Pat's Drive on the App Store or at underdogfantasy.com, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. But continue to like, subscribe, share this content with friends, and stay up to date with us next time we're live or next time we drop a clip. But until next time, we'll talk to you later.